Capricorn, welcome. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, and we are going to be doing your October read today. So, this month, we have decided, we, being Spirit and I, that we will do our monthly read focused around a couple of questions. So, this time of year, as the leaves are falling from the trees are transforming themselves. They're shedding what they do not need in the coming season. And so our first 5 cards that we are pulling here, asking Spirit to provide us 5 cards for Capricorn around the question of what you need to shed, what it's time to let go and shed as the season changes to make room for what's coming. Our second 5 cards will be around the question of how your focus needs to shift during October, Capricorn, to help you further yourself along your personal path. How do you progress? Where should your attention be going during October to help you progress on your personal journey? And then we will pull a couple of cards at the end that will be intended to discuss your purpose. For those of you that know what your purpose is already, the intent would be for those cards to give you some guideposts about how to move forward. And for those of you unclear on what your purpose may be, perhaps there'll be some pointers there for how to figure out what your purpose is. I doubt it'll very clearly state exactly what your purpose is meant to be. This is a general reading, so that's not what we'll be looking for. I do want to say at the start, though, that I think if that third line of cards doesn't really speak to you, doesn't seem to fit, that doesn't necessarily mean the first 2 lines aren't relevant. The first 2 lines of information that we're getting here from Spirit around shedding and ways to progress on our path could still have some valuable guidance. So we just need one more card in that first row for shedding. There we go. And now we'll look at 5 cards, please, Spirit, to help Capricorn with their forward progress. How is Capricorn going to be shifting their perspective? How could they best use the month of October to make progress on their personal path? There's 2 there. As I noted, this is a general reading, so it's for sun, moon, and rising placements for Capricorn. If you're watching and this is your sun, if you know what your moon and your rising signs are, there may be valuable insights in the videos for those other signs as well. And so you may want to check those out. If this reading absolutely does not resonate for you, then don't try to force that. It is just not your reading this month. And then in that case, there are, I'm sure, many other excellent readers on YouTube who will be posting October videos. And perhaps Capricorn, one of those messages will speak to you. This is a reading that I am doing for October. So it's somewhat seasonal. That doesn't mean there's nothing of value any other time of year, should you come to this information later. But it is definitely a reading that's being done with an eye toward the shift of seasons in the northern part of the northern hemisphere. It is fall now, and we're moving into the colder days of fall toward winter at a steady pace. It won't be the same in every geography. And if you are in the southern hemisphere, obviously it's moving on toward spring for you now. And that's quite a lovely time of year. I had the opportunity to be in Sydney, Australia in October once, and it was beautiful. Okay, let's see. Just one more card, and I think we'll be ready to start. We do have another deck to use for qualifiers. Clarifiers. I always say qualifiers, but what I mean is clarifiers. So let's see. Let's jump right in there, Capricorn. If I'm not mistaken, that's you right at the front here. The goat, the Capricorn energy making an appearance in the Devil card. We'll just read it. We'll start with reading it with a general understanding that it could be presenting some playfulness in your month of October. It could be some heavier things, perhaps matters related to an addiction or being overly materialistic. But I'm feeling at the moment the playfulness, and we'll see if that feeling shifts as we look at the other cards. I see it as a playful energy because it's sitting here right next to the Daughter of Cups. We're using the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Kranz, and this daughter energy would be our page. So the Page of Cups is a dreamer energy. It's speaking to the birth of something new, and possibly to some sort of happy surprise, right? That's the phrase that comes to mind. And so I see this energy as just, there's a nice playful energy starting out your month of October where you're just kind of dreamy. You know, you're not really all that serious about anything right now. You may just have a notion that something new is starting in your life, and it's something happy, something you enjoy. The Emperor energy is coming in after that. And this energy here in this arrangement, I really feel is a gentle reminder that there is some need for structure. So as you're getting playful and your energy is really light and bubbly and almost like a balloon full of helium, and it just wants to rise, and you're holding on to that string with just a couple fingers. The Emperor is here as an energy of reminding you that structure of control, those matters have not gone away. There is still a need for some structure to your life, even in this joyful space. I think that is supported further by this appearance of the Hierophant. 3 major arcana in this shedding section, and this Hierophant energy is here as authority, essentially to remind you of the rules, the structure. The Emperor is calling to mind, is highlighted by that appearance there of the Hierophant energy, saying, yes, it's fine that you're happy, but don't forget there are rules, there are guidelines, there's structure to be followed. We have in our last position here the 5 of Wands reversed. And when it's reversed, it has sort of a feeling of you've avoided a conflict somehow. So pulling in the intuitive in Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, I'm going to say that your playful, joyful, dreamy energy that you have going on right now has been tempered by following the rules and listening to the authorities, and that's helped you to avoid a conflict up to this point. So what is it that we're asked to shed to make room for what's coming? That's a very good question. Are we being asked now to proceed in that positive energy, that playful energy, and disregard the rules a bit in order to move along and progress on our path? Or are we being asked to step away from this light, playful energy now that the season of fun, summer, is ending? Are we now meant to let go of that dreamy, lighthearted, jokester, playful space and focus more on the serious business of achieving some progress on our goals? And that is perhaps what we're looking at here, Capricorn. But let's take a look at the guidance here in the second row, just for a moment before we do clarifiers on the first row. In the second row, we have the Ace of Swords reversed. So that's not, the most positive energy. It speaks to a bit of chaos, perhaps some confusion. We have the Three of Pentacles reversed, which, again, is not really the best energy there. There's some disorganization. There's some lack of teamwork and some conflict coming into a group. We have the Magician reversed. Again, not the way we hope to see the Magician appear. Not bad. Nothing is bad, okay? I want that to be clear. No cards are good or bad. No placements or appearances, reversals. None of that is good or bad. They're all energies for us to use. And with the Magician reversed, we just have to be a bit aware that there may be some illusions. We may be out of touch with something that we need to be understanding better. We have then the confusion and the lack of clear sight coming with the Moon, and the High Priestess speaking to intuition. So it looks like what we're leaving behind here is that light, airy mood. That is what is being shed now as we are moving into fall and the leaves are shedding from the trees. And things are getting a little more serious now in October for you, Capricorn. Let's look a little bit at the Emperor and the Hierophant energy and see if we have any clarification there from Spirit for Capricorn around the Emperor and the Hierophant. What is this structure? What are these rules that are so important right now, that are starting to take over where we once had this light, dreamy energy? We have the Seven of Swords reversed. And so, in this case, there is a rethinking of your approach. You have been perhaps just very open and going with the flow and trusting the universe to send you the signs and the guideposts that you need in order to progress in your personal journey. And we've entered now a season where you need to rethink and shift how you approach your life. And it is just a matter of seasons. It's like the wheel, very much like the wheel card. There's an ebb and a flow, and now we're moving into a little bit more serious type of energy where the rules matter more, conforming, having structure in your life, not just going day by day and seeing what happens, but having a plan. And the King of Swords energy is coming out to tell us that we really need to be thinking with our head now and not our heart. And that is going to help us as we're moving forward. So let's look at the Ace of Swords. That Ace of Swords reversed speaks to confusion, potentially chaos. And the Three of Pentacles reversed is about conflicts in a group, a lack of working together and some disorganization. And I want to look at the two of them together. Where is the chaos coming from? What is causing that disorganization What is making the team not function well together? We have the Queen of Pentacles. It's an interesting clarifier there. Let's see how that might fit. With our Queen of Pentacles, we're talking about being very practical. There's financial security and perhaps a feeling of how important pleasure is in life. So there may have been a conflict arising in the group that has led to some confusion and chaos because you were just enjoying yourself. During the summer, you kind of took your foot off the gas a bit. You left things for others in the group to deal with, Capricorn perhaps, and you may have felt that that was exactly fine, and nobody spoke up and said there was any problem with that. But it has led to some challenges in that group dynamic because you weren't there to lead the way. You weren't there to contribute your part. And it seems that whatever this group is, it is very important each person be involved. And so I guess what I see here is that there is presently a little bit of a breakdown in that group dynamic. And there is some confusion that needs to be cleared up. But it mainly has to do with your absence over the summer, I think. And with your return, perhaps it will start to sort itself rather quickly back to normal. Let's look at the Magician reversed. I want to take a little look at that because that can represent that there is a little underhandedness in the equation. And we want to see, because I think that it is very important, Capricorn, for you to progress in your personal journey, that you are dealing with this situation where there is the confusion, where there is the chaos presently. You're coming back into that scenario and you're starting to appreciate more fully how important your contributions are. And that's a very important life lesson, to understand our place and how we contribute and how we are part of a larger dynamic outside of ourselves. So I think that's a really important lesson to be learning. And I want to just look at that Magician reversed and see if we can get a little clarity. Here we have the Lovers, which speaks to a partnership. So there may be a little bit of trickery, perhaps not. I'm not getting the sense that it is, out and out lying, but there may be some withholding of information in a partnership. Perhaps there's someone in your group that you function with more closely than the others in your group, and that person is feeling perhaps that the communication between the two of you is not what it could be, and that probably has more to do with your enjoying the summer, being away, not being as actively engaged in work matters, but that person is feeling a little bit out of the loop. We have then Judgment reversed also as a clarifier on that Magician reversed, and that is telling me that this partnership is being damaged by some doubt right now. There may be a little bit of a lack of self-awareness on your part. You may have taken this partner for granted, is what I'm seeing there, Capricorn. And so that is also a very important part of your set of lessons during October that helps you progress on your personal path. The interpersonal communication skills that you have been using to date could use a little brush up, perhaps. There are new challenges coming into your path because these are areas where you need to expand your skills and you need to learn how to communicate to others their value to you, is what I'm hearing. There may be something about the way you communicate normally that takes a lot for granted and makes many assumptions about how others are reacting to you. And these lessons in this resolving of the chaos and the conflict in the group, now that you're back, and the improvement of this partnership through being a bit more self-aware, are two excellent opportunities for you to work on your communication skills. And I get the sense that your communication skills are going to be vitally important in the future. That's the message I'm hearing from Spirit. let's look at the moon and see if there's any clarification on the moon card from Spirit for Capricorn. Do we have any clarification for Capricorn Spirit around the moon card? Sometimes we don't. No. We have two cards here coming out. We have the Hermit, and we have the Six of Pentacles. So reading those together, I get the sense that what is hidden from you presently, what is unclear, these two together speak to using your intuition. They're both about intuition. And they're both very much supremely focused on you listening to your inner voice. But the moon can also be about items that are hidden from view, areas where you're having a hard time seeing clearly. And what I think is not as obvious to you, perhaps, as it will be soon, is that when you go within, when you take time, Capricorn, to just focus on you, and you sort of shut yourself off from others, they miss your contribution. They miss that sharing that you would do, the ideas that you share, the contribution that you make is a very generous gift in many cases. And so when it's gone, it's very obvious to the people that are still there that it's missing. And so while you're learning your lessons in these perhaps uncomfortable situations, Capricorn, you're improving your communication skills, you're improving your authenticity in your engagement with these group members, with this particular partner. And you're also starting to understand that what you contribute is so important to others. And that is an excellent lesson to learn. I think many of us just assume that things would go on without us, that sure, people like us well enough, but what I'm seeing here is a new awareness in you, just how the gifts you give are perceived by others and how much they are valued. And so it doesn't mean you should never, go and take time for yourself. Absolutely, that's important. That's how we all gain our balance and center and recharge. But when you do, it's a very noticeable impact is what I'm seeing here, Capricorn. Okay, so I think we've clarified that, and I think now we'll look at these two cards that have come out for your question of purpose. And what is, if you are not aware yet of what your purpose could be, we have this moon imagery. There's new information coming in October that will help you start to clarify. The Empress energy is in this particular space. I'm feeling telling you that there's something to be created now. There's something meant to be birthed into existence at this time. An idea is percolating. It is wanting to come into physical form, and something about that helps you to understand your purpose better. The Nine of Cups, obviously an excellent card, offering you satisfaction and emotional stability. There's a luxury to this card, pleasure and fulfillment. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling, and I get the sense that either it's through bringing this new whatever into existence and knowing how wonderful that feels, the impact of that creation will make you feel amazing. And that sense of fulfillment that comes from that creation, from the process and the actual act of creating, will be quite informative for you as to what your purpose is meant to be. And if you already feel clear on what your purpose is meant to be, this message is simply saying it's time to make it physical. It's time to take that idea and put it into three-dimensional form, and share it. And that should be met with this feeling of fulfillment that helps you to understand that you're on the right track. All right, Capricorn, I think I will pull just one of these oracle cards for you to finish things off. Magic of You Oracle by Fiona Horn. It's a relatively new deck. She's the creator of the deck. I want to show you the artist, though, because the art is amazing. Her name is Marcela Bolivar. This is from the guidebook. And Marcela has created some gorgeous cards here. So let's just see what last word of advice or guidance Spirit has for you. We have Fergan. Become a loving mirror. Let's see if I can show you. Focus. Sorry, the overhead lights are quite glary. Looks like someone's putting their fingers into a pool of water, a chest on their chest. It's a mirror, but it's also a three-dimensional pool they can reach into. Let's see what we have in the book. That's number 10. The simple, unselfish joy that comes from knowing something good has happened to someone else fulfills and heals the angry, self-pitying soul. It's time for emotional unification and appreciation for self and others. When we delight in the well-being and success of others, we mirror these thoughts. As has been demonstrated and proven in the science of quantum physics, we become a part of what we identify and acknowledge. Unconditional appreciation for others' happiness is liberation. It touches our soul and reverberates through our experience of life like the delicate ripples across the man's heart. It is time to be brave and put your fear, resentment, jealousy, and anger aside and delight in the joy of others. Trust and know that by this simple contemplation and observation, your own heart is healed and restored, and your life will reflect the joy and success you see around you perfectly and uniquely. So, I think that is adding a layer of dimension to this second line. You are understanding better your impact on others, and by doing so, you start to understand better how others feel, and you can more fully celebrate their successes with them. And that is quite a nurturing, supportive, almost a fulfilling feeling inside of you to have that better sense of others. I think that's what we have for you, Capricorn. I hope you have a fantastic October. We'll see you in the weeklies or next month. Blessings.